Nanlites of mine. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my son's Christmas bedroom. He loves to have it decorated like this year-round and I am all about it. It's such a sweet space and I thought this would be the perfect place to talk about some books I love. I've got a whole stack here and I'm trying not to move them too much right now because as you'll see, I invested in a real ASMR microphone in hopes that it would give us some better sound for these. I've got a new light to my left, and thanks for giving me grace as I learn my way along. They will improve as time goes on. For now, though, let's just go with what we've got and let me share a few great books. Hi, here we are at my son's tiny wooden desk. I just like the top of it, so I thought it would be fun to do our favorite books here. First up, one from my childhood, 14,000 Things to Be Happy About. The Happy Book by Barbara Ann Kipfer. And this one has been newly revised and updated, so I'm sure it's a little bit different than the one that we had when I was a kid. But it's still sweet. Even sweeter, probably. I marked this page. I was going to read it aloud. It says, "A conversation that starts with a book. Roast pork, violet, eggplants, beets, blackberries, mulberries, plums, purple grapes, playing in a closet as a child, bunches of asparagus tied with ribbons in a basket, cubed potatoes fried in bacon fat, salt and pepper, butterflies migrating, a big bag of Hershey's Kisses, water's capacity to take any shape, a storm tapering off, steel drums and street dancing, lush thickness, redwood forests and Spanish moss, finding the perfect hairstyle, desk accessories in country fabrics, Pyrex cookware, wishing for a new car, harp seals, the places Jeeps can go, taking piano lessons and never practicing. That was me. Tiny pumpkins, a high-placed government source, brown eggs, cauliflower, and white onions in a pale straw basket with a few bronze daisies, hand-cut lead crystal decanters, omelet pans. Aren't those fun? This one says, tomatoes and bacon on toast covered with melted cheese, the pounding of a hammer, giving snakes the right of way, slumps, grunts, buckles, betties, and what is that? Pandowdies, ozone, grated peels of fruit, brightly striped sweaters, buying postage online and printing it out, putting all your senses to work, lending a hand, aluminum pie weights, the log and chink walls of an old cabin, the delicate hieroglyphics of raccoons and deer down by the creek, the business of the day falling into manageable perspective, tree farms, packing a frosted cake for a trip, pot stickers, Ohio, Stevenson would agree, glass, pottery, steel, tires, mound builders, fertile fields, reversible rain slickers, pulling pantyhose out of the drawer and finding them run, snag, and hole free, the discovery of stunning early Maya paintings, poetry that doesn't rhyme, and time-tested friends. I'll leave the rest for you to enjoy if you haven't ever read it. Next up, One Night on the Island. This one is by Josie Silver, and features a cute little cottage and a cute little couple. And I'll read the back. I don't want to give too much away, but I guess you would read this if you picked it up in a bookstore. It says, "One cottage, two strangers, the start of a great love story. Spending her 30th birthday alone is not what dating columnist Cleo Wilder wanted, but she plans a solo retreat at the insistence of her boss in the name of re-energizing herself and adding a new perspective to her column. The remote Irish island she's booked is a far cry from London, but at least it's a chance to hunker down in a luxury cabin and indulge in some self-care while she figures out the next steps in her love life and career. Max Sullivan is also looking forward to some time to himself. With his life in Boston deteriorating in ways he can't bring himself to acknowledge, his soul searching has brought him to the same island to explore his Irish roots and find some clarity. Unfortunately, a mix-up with the bookings means both have reserved the same hideaway on exactly the same dates. Instantly at odds, Cleo and Mac don't know how they're going to manage until the next weekly ferry arrives. But as the days go by, they no longer seem to mind each other's company quite as much as they thought they would. Written with Josie Silver's signature charm, One Night on the Island explores the meaning of home, the joys of escape, and how things we think we want are never the things we really need. Oh, what did that say? I saw some underlined parts. The lodge is set back from the shore, far enough for safety, but near enough for the damp, dark, silvery beach to be your front garden. This is the kind of place worn-down artists might visit to reconnect with their creative soul. Oh, don't you just want to go? That's what I kept finding myself feeling as I was reading. And so the characters were super cute, but the location was dreamy. Here, I put a bracket around this. It says, "A photo can't convey the smell that rises from the earth as you walk the hills. A unique blend of ozone and peat and history, of heather under your boots, and of oil enriched by the sweat and toil of the generations of islanders who've worked the land. I've never met people with a surer sense of who they are, or a surer sense of kinship. They embody the word clan, and they walk between the syllables of brotherhood and sisterhood, of course. The women of salvation are warriors and empresses. You might imagine that people like this would be tribal, exclusive of others, that they'd turn suspicious eyes on a stranger to their shores. But they didn't. They opened their arms wide and welcomed me in. Their music stirred me, their folklore stories even more, and man, did their whiskey fry my brain. I wait for the ripple of laughter to die down. That guy there," I nod toward the life-size shot of Raph sitting on the seawall, his fedora dropped over one eye. He embodied everything that's amazing about salvation. A raconteur, a lion heart, and a family man. Loyalty runs in their blood, and in mine, and in my son's. I raise my chin, proud to be of salvation stock. Yes, Jovi. Isn't that sweet? Highly recommend. Next up, A Year on Ladybug Farm. And this is just the first in a series of 6 or 7. And I enjoyed it so much. 3 friends are about to discover an old house and a new life. What a great little bitty sentence. Yes, that just sums it up. The back of this one says, their husbands were gone, their families were grown, and the future stretched out before them like an unfulfilled promise. Tired of always dreaming and never doing, Cece, Lindsay, and Bridget make a life-altering decision. Uprooting themselves from their comfortable lives in the suburbs, the three friends buy a run-down mansion nestled in the picturesque Shenandoah Valley. They christen their new home Ladybug Farm, hoping that the name will bring them luck. As the friends take on a home improvement challenge of epic proportions, they encounter disaster after disaster, from renegade sheep and garden thieves to a seemingly ghostly inhabitant. Over the course of a year, overwhelming obstacles make the three women question their decision. But sometimes the best things can happen when everything goes wrong. Definitely my kind of book. The added bonus of having an old house to fix up made it so much more fun to read. "Let me show you the grounds," Maggie said cheerfully and led the way. She did a lot of chatting about an overgrown rose garden, which would take nothing, simply nothing, to bring back to glory. And Lindsay, who is the queen of roses back on Huntington Lane, identified several antique species. She seemed duly impressed. "Do you ride?" asked Maggie, gesturing toward a big barn with a sagging shed and a rusted-out metal roof. "This is a great place to keep horses." "Don't know one end of a horse from the other," Cece said, stepping high over tangled knots of fescue grass. She shaded her eyes toward a stone building set in a sunny tangle of wisteria vines behind the house. "What's that?" Maggie led the way. "It's an old dairy," she said. "This place is just full of history. They used to make their own butter and cheese, and up till the 1950s actually sold it. People used to come from as far away as D.C. to buy Blackwell cheese." She pushed open the recalcitrant, wooden door of the building and gestured them inside. "Isn't it adorable?" The interior was cool and smelled faintly of milk products and sweet grass. Sunlight poured in from the two overhead skylights and from the rows of windows that lined either side of the building, catching dust motes and soaring ladybugs in its beams, and bleaching squares and rectangles on the flagstone floor. The building apparently had once been divided into partitioned sections, like stalls or small enclosed rooms. But some of the walls had fallen over and had been dragged to a pile in the far corner. Others were sagging on their supports. "It would take some work," admitted Maggie. "But wouldn't this make a darling guest house? And it's solid as a rock. Well, it is rock, through and through." Lindsay walked carefully around the rubble, turning this way and that to observe the fall of light, and her face was filled with wonder. Both Cece and Bridget knew what she was thinking, but Bridget said it aloud. "Well, here's your art studio, Linz." Cece said, "You'd have to get electricity down here, but it probably already has plumbing. The dairy operators would have had to have some way to hose the place out." She moved to test the sturdiness of one of the upright posts that had once framed an interior doorway, giving it a little shake. It crashed to the floor in a cloud of dust, causing everyone to jump back. "Not a problem," said Cece, brushing off her jeans. "You can fix that," finished Bridget and Lindsay in chorus, and all three women shared a grin. Oh, I want to keep reading, but I don't want to spoil it for you. So I'll stop there and just share that this series continues with At Home on Ladybug Farm, which says, after a year of taking the chance of a lifetime, Cece, Lindsay, and Bridget are still trying to make a home for themselves on the newly renovated Ladybug Farm. Life in the Shenandoah Valley is picturesque but filled with unexpected trials, such as the introduction of two young people into the ordered life the women have tried to build for themselves. As the walls of the old house reveal their secret and the lives of those who have gone before begin to unfold, the cobbled-together household starts to disintegrate into chaos. And when one of their members is threatened by a real crisis, they must all come together to fight for the roots they've laid down the hopes they share, and the family they've become. So that's a little snippet of book number 2. I'll show you the rest, but I'm not going to read the backs of any more. And I'm not sure if these are in the right order, but there's love letters from Ladybug Farm. A broken heart is the toughest kind of fixer-upper. There's a wedding on Ladybug Farm, which is absolutely delectable. There's vintage Ladybug Farm. Sometimes a dream is not enough. Christmas on Ladybug Farm. There's no place like home for the holidays. And last but not least, the Hummingbird House, which is sort of an offshoot. What do you call that? When a storyline branches off from the original one, because some of the characters and their quirky house are fun to read about too. Anywho, that's the whole series, and I highly recommend it. There we go. Next up, the Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany. Look at this cover. Oh my goodness. Don't you just want to be right there? The back says, mysterious family lore, a heart-trending love story, and luminous descriptions of Italy all add up to an utterly captivating read. What a great review. Since the day Filomena Fontana cast a curse upon her sister more than 200 years ago, not one second-born Fontana daughter has found lasting love. Some, like second-born Amelia, the happily single baker at her grandfather's Brooklyn deli, claim it's an odd coincidence. Others, like her sexy, desperate-for-love cousin Lucy, insist it's a true hex. But both are bewildered when their great-aunt calls with an astounding proposition. If they accompany her to her homeland of Italy, Aunt Poppy vows she'll meet the love of her life on the steps of the Ravello Cathedral on her 80th birthday and break the Fontana second daughter curse once and for all. Against the backdrop of wandering Venetian canals, rolling Tuscan fields, and enchanting Amalfi Coast villages, romance blooms, destinies are found, and family secrets are unearthed. Secrets that could threaten the family far more than a centuries-old curse. Ooh, that ended on sort of a not nice note, but I will say I enjoyed it very much. And honestly, I don't remember exactly how it ends because I read it so long ago. But it is a gorgeous blend of family, friendship, and love. A glorious journey through Italy and the heart, as effervescent as an Aperol spritz. I've never had one, but I do know I enjoyed this book very much. I was trying to see if I underlined any parts. I think I was just so excited I couldn't stop reading long enough to find a pencil. It's really good. I think you'll love it. And last but not least, Summer at Seafall Cottage. A beautiful summer romance to warm your heart. Now, I'm recording this in fall or autumn, so it probably isn't the best time to read this right now, but maybe you're finding this video a little later and it'll hit the spot in summer. The back says, get swept away along the beautiful Cornish coast, where a love story in a long-forgotten diary has the power to change one woman's life forever. Victoria Langley's world crumbles when her husband leaves, but she knows exactly where to go to mend her broken heart. The rugged shores of Cornwall will be her perfect sanctuary. In the quaint little village of Tregalan, I'm going to say that, nestled in the sea cliffs, Victoria is drawn to Seafall Cottage, covered in vines and gracefully falling apart. Inside, she finds a diary full of secrets from 1905. Victoria is determined to unravel the diary's mystery, but the residents of Tregallen are tight-lipped about Tilly Asprey, the cottage's last owner. Just as she reaches a dead end, Victoria meets Adam Waters, the attorney handling the cottage's sale. He's handsome, charming, and has a missing piece of the puzzle. Tilly's diary tells a devastating love story that mirrors Victoria's own. Can Victoria learn from Tilly's mistakes and give herself a second chance at love, or is history doomed to repeat itself? An unput-downable and gorgeously romantic read about lost love and new beginnings set in the green hills and rocky cliffs of the breathtaking Cornish coast. Perfect for fans of Phillips Ashley, Emma Burstall, and Liz Fenwick. I don't think I've read any of theirs, so I'll have to look those up too. Anywho, these were just a few of my favorite reads, and I thought you might like to hear about them too. Toodaloo. I hope that was so much fun to listen along to, and I apologize if there were any mid-video ads. Apparently, I need to reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before I can shut those off. So thanks if you made it this far, because you're helping me reach a goal that will get rid of those extra ads so that we can just hear about all the good stuff instead. My favorite thing is to delight in people and places and stories and books. So this new channel has been a blessing in that way, and I hope it's helpful for you as you unwind, decompress, or reconnect with creativity too.